Welcome, everyone. My name is Marc Kuo. I am the founder and CEO of Routific. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be talking about how to grow your online sales with a 5-star delivery experience. I will be talking a lot about route optimization, and I will also talk about the act of delivery management as well. Because route optimization is actually the planning phase of your delivery routes, and route execution is when you're going out and making the actual deliveries. Both of these elements are important, so we'll cover both of those in this presentation. Quick background, myself, born and raised in the Netherlands. I studied computer science and logistics. And about 10 years ago is when I graduated and wrote a thesis on route optimization algorithms. That's already when I learned that using route optimizations can really benefit delivery businesses. But it wasn't until 2015 when I started Routific to really make that a reality by providing a full suite solution and software to make a real impact to these delivery businesses. So my hope is that at the end of this roughly 20-minute presentation, you will have some takeaways that you can incorporate in your own delivery business the very next day, and hopefully set up for success to allow yourself to grow and scale your online delivery business and provide that level of delivery experience to your customers. So diving in, let's talk about route optimization first. So why is it so important? And why is it so essential and at its core for every delivery business? In a nutshell, inefficient routes are extremely expensive, and you simply cannot scale an inefficient business, because at scale, you'll just be bleeding more money at scale. So you want to make sure that your business is tight, as efficient as can be, so that you can efficiently scale and achieve a profitable delivery business. So what is the route planning problem exactly? In a nutshell, if you have, let's say, a few hundred deliveries and a dozen drivers or so, it is the problem or the puzzle of how to decide which drivers take which deliveries and in what sequence they do those deliveries. From the 11,000 SMBs that we surveyed, an astonishing 72% of these delivery businesses are still planning their routes manually by hand, using spreadsheets, Google Maps. They just eyeball it, draw some regions on the map, and be done with it. You might be able to get by with it when you're just starting out, perhaps with 50 orders a day or 30 orders a day. You can still get by, but as soon as you scale beyond 50 to maybe 100 orders a day, that's typically what I've heard from our customers, where they start to really feel the pain of manual route planning. It could take up to 2 hours every morning, and also the sense that their routes aren't as efficient as they can be. And so, and it's true. So the manual route planners typically will end up with a route solution that can be 20 to 40% less efficient compared to one that is generated by a route optimization algorithm. So you end up with a picture on the left. But as you can see on the picture on the right, you will save a lot of drive time and fuel, both of which directly goes to your bottom line. So again, the majority of the industry today, unfortunately, still plans routes manually. So if you have one of them, if you identify yourself and you're still doing it today, then don't feel bad. The majority of them still operate that way. But it is a huge opportunity. That means that you have an opportunity in front of you to cut down your delivery operation cost by 20 to 40%. Which can mean quite a lot for your business. The other benefit is the environmental angle. As you reduce fuel consumption by 20%, you also reduce your carbon footprint by 20%. And that brings me to give you a bit more background about Routific and the reason why I started the company in the first place. I've made it my personal life purpose more than a decade ago to help make a positive impact on the environment, which is why I would say about 9 or 8 years ago, I quit investment banking. And in around 2014-15, really tried to start Routific because first of all, investment banking was quite soul-sucking, but I also felt like I didn't contribute much to the environment or the planet in any positive way. Whereas what I'm trying to do with Routific is to make that sizable, scalable impact on the environment by making logistics more efficient. So Routific's mission to that end is to make route optimization accessible to every delivery business. And assuming the very conservative 20% number, if you're assuming that an algorithm can create routes that are only 20% more efficient than a manual route planner, we have quantified and estimated that for each manual route planner or for each driver that's driving a route that was planned by a manual route planner, if he or she were to drive an optimized route and get that 20% benefit, efficiency gain, that equals to a carbon emission reduction equivalent to planting 86 trees per year per driver, which is pretty amazing. So across our customer base of more than 1,000 customers on Routific today, we have in the last year alone cut carbon emissions equivalent to planting roughly 500,000 to 1 million trees in 1 year's time alone. And because we were able to demonstrate this environmental impact, we were awarded 2 years ago by the Canadian government with a $1.75 million sustainability grant. So I just wanted to share that a bit of a personal story and personal reason why I really care about Routific and why I really care about our mission of making route optimization accessible to every delivery business. I thought it was just important to share because it is important to me to speak to that a little bit. So coming back to industry trends and some of the research into specifically the delivery market. This came from a study of 60,000 US shoppers, which projects a continued boom in grocery delivery. So you see there is a really big uptake the moment the pandemic hit and lockdown hit and everyone started to scramble to order everything online and businesses start to pivot to deliver or to provide the products online. And so you see that really big uptake from 2019 to 2020. But the projections are that growth is going to continue. And by 2025, out of all of the total grocery sales, they project 21.5% to be online. So if you ever considered launching and running an e-commerce grocery delivery business, food delivery business, now is the time. It's never been a better time. And if you're already running one, good for you. You must really feel that demand, the pull from the market. It's a really interesting time to be where you're at right now. I was just on a call maybe late last year with a farmer in, I believe it was New York City, who shared with me that in only 1 week's time, he was able to set up an e-commerce online produce delivery business. And within 1 week and the following week, he already scaled up to about 100 orders a day, which was astonishing. It's unheard of, in a pre-pandemic era, but such is the state of the industry, and I think now is a really good time to be in this business. So moving on to the other very important trend that's been happening for a while and only recently, got really accelerated, is the consumer and the buyer's expectation around the delivery experience, and this has mostly been pushed by players like Amazon, obviously, or the Ubers of the world, and as a result, the consumer's base level expectation has been really rising over the years. That any business that does not provide that or that does not meet those base expectations risks losing business as a result. So a very easy use online ordering system. 76% of consumers that were surveyed has that expectation that they can easily browse and shop for your product, pay online, and arrange for a delivery without having to talk to anyone. That's kind of been the trend for a while now, and it's really been accelerating. The other thing is everyone wants to be in the know at all times. Delivery notifications. What is the status of my order? When is it estimated to be delivered? Oh, it was just delivered. They want to be kept up to date with the real-time status of their order. The Amazon-like buying experience. So that's like in general, 69% of consumers surveyed expect every online business to provide a similar, Amazon-like buying experience. Not just the speed and efficiency, but also the constant communication. When they deliver and they leave the product at the door, and they'll notify you, oftentimes with a photo attached to it as well. Photo proof of delivery is a very important one, especially in the world of contactless delivery. And then finally, good reviews. As you and I know, we are consumers we are also consumers. And whenever we shop online, I can speak for myself, the first thing I look at are the reviews. So having good reviews and a good online reputation is paramount to attracting more business. The only way to get good reviews, is to provide a great product, of course, but also a great delivery experience. Because operating an e-commerce business is different from retail in that an e-commerce business, the only touch points you have with your customers are your e-commerce storefront and the delivery experience. So you got to make sure that both of those are stellar, so that you can get good reviews. All right. So what are some of the local delivery best practices, just to sum up some of the points that we just talked about to this point? So first thing, manual route planning, never a good idea. I can't see a reason, except for when you're just starting out and you have only a dozen or maybe 2 dozen deliveries a day, you can still get by. But as soon as you start scaling to 2, 3 drivers, definitely investigate some software to help you not just automate that planning process, but also you can already at that small scale, you can already get a lot of efficiency gain with route optimization. I'll speak a bit more about that bit and the kind of like the KPIs around cost per delivery in the next slide. But the second point is to talk again about that delivery experience. So make sure that you provide real-time updates to your customers, automated notifications to keep them up to date when the driver's on the way, even sending them a tracking link that they can track the driver approaching, because then they can get ready to receive the package, which is especially important for perishables. I've heard a few horror stories last year where produce, I think it was actually meat that was delivered to a customer, left on the porch, but because they were not communicating to the customer that they had dropped it at the porch, the meat ended up going bad. So that was a huge waste and a very poor customer experience. So make sure as you deliver, you immediately notify the client, and ideally also take a picture of where you've left it, so that they can not only know that you've delivered it for sure, but also know where it is, so they can easily find it. All right. So the last point: optimize cost per delivery. So cost per delivery, I would say, is probably the most important KPI to track as a delivery business, because that one number can tell you if you are efficient or you're leaving money on the table. So let's do a deep dive in cost per delivery as a KPI. So in a nutshell, cost per delivery essentially just summarizes what does it cost you all in to perform a single delivery on average, right? So it includes things such as driver wages, fuel costs, perhaps vehicle costs, etc. But the biggest 2 elements there are driver wages. By far, they make up roughly usually like 70 to 80% of the operating costs, and the other one, the remainder, mostly being like fuel. So as you are trying to So first of all, if you're not tracking, or if you don't know what your cost per delivery is today, I really strongly suggest you start tracking this KPI month over month, just to make sure how you're doing, because only by tracking it can you see how it can improve over time. So just to give you some industry benchmarks, the key lever to improving this KPI really is route density, which is essentially like how many deliveries can you make per hour. If you're only making 1 or 2 deliveries per hour while the drivers are on the road, that's going to be very, very expensive, because the hourly wages is immediately impacting the cost there, and you're only amortizing that across 1 or 2 deliveries. So anything below 3 per hour is considered bad. You're in a good healthy range if you're doing somewhere between 3 and maybe 6 deliveries per hour. That's considered like pretty industry averages. And you are stellar if you can exceed that. You can go up to 7, 8, 9, 10 deliveries per hour. You're really, really good. You have really dense routes. You have high order volume. Just to give you a sense of like FedEx or UPS, they typically would be at like the 12 deliveries per hour range. But obviously they have a ton of volume, so they can create super dense routes. But if you don't have a ton of volume, there are still a couple of ways you can improve route density. For example, delivery zones. You could set up a Monday, you're going to do downtown. Tuesday, you're going to do, let's say, this suburb, because then in a given week's orders, all of the orders in that area get all siphoned into a single day. So you can create a very dense route for that particular day. So delivery zones is one way to do it. I will say it is a double-edged sword, especially once you scale the amount of volume that you have, because you can fall into the trap of having arbitrary zones, especially if you have multiple zones in a given day. Because, for example, if you have 2 zones that are close to each other and they're split across 2 separate days, it may actually make sense to do them together, given that you might have only 1 order there in one zone, but you have 10 orders in the other zone. Why split them up if you could just swing by dynamically based on that information that you have? So it's a double-edged sword. It can help with density in the early days. Once you scale, you have enough volume and density in the order of magnitude of, let's say, 50 to 100 orders a day. You might want to explore trying it out without strict delivery zones and simply uploading all your orders in one go and then optimizing the routes dynamically. So yeah, I just wanted to share some of these numbers with you so that you can, first of all, start tracking your cost per delivery as a KPI for your business. And secondly, kind of benchmark as to how well are you doing today compared to, what the industry averages are. Because all of that impacts your cost per delivery, which then also impacts how much should you be charging your customers in terms of delivery fee. Because the higher that is, the less business you'll likely get. So in a in a worst case scenario, you end up like each delivery might cost you $5 to $15. So if you're then going to charge a delivery fee that is less than that, you're literally losing money on the delivery. If you're in like a really great range, so you're making more than 6 deliveries an hour, each delivery only costs you $1.50 perhaps, or $2.60, and you might even consider just providing delivery service for free, because free is much cheaper than $2 from a perception perspective, and you could just incorporate that as part of your general cost of goods sold. So again, the cost per delivery, get it as low as possible, optimize your routes as much as possible, so that you can then, perhaps even in the future offer free deliveries, which then feeds back into more orders, which then allows you to get more density again and more efficiencies, and the flywheel will continue. All right, so here, just to share a couple of testimonials from some of our customers. Forget me, my customers love it. The automated notification system sends out a huge hit with our customers. Major upgrade for the look and feel of our operation, said David from Delivered Fresh. Another quote from Kevin, who is the co-owner of Lee and Maria's. With Routific, we now have a smart and efficient way to make all our deliveries. Our produce arrives fast and fresh, and that kind of service brings our customers back to us again and again. I also want to say that we are extremely excited to be partnering with BarntoDoor because it really allows us to focus on what we do best, which is route optimization and delivery management. Meanwhile, BarntoDoor takes care of everything else. And so this partnership made a lot of sense. BarntoDoor is making a seamless API integration with Routific so that we can provide the joint solution from a customer experience perspective to all of you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be partnering with BarntoDoor. So with that, thank you so much for your attention and your time. You can find us at routific.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email, Marc, M-A-R-C, @routific.com. If you have any questions, if there's anything you wanted to, have a deeper dive on any of the content of this presentation, happy to have a chat. And that's it for me. Thank you again.